Over the past 3 years, we have observed an increased interest from business to explore trends related to a globalizing human capital market. The forum has created a unique platform to foster mutual understanding among various stakeholders and to catalyze recommendations that can stimulate economies.
Delighted that you've gathered together today. I think there are some very powerful minds here in the room.
We want to be able to say we came together and somehow we made a difference.
Unless talent mobility happens, developed industrialized economies are going to fail.
I think we can be pretty sure that there will be a shortage of talent in the upcoming years, 2020, 2030s. So I think each government really has to think about this. And from my perspective, the first step, which is really crucial, is that you establish a strategic plan.
Growing economies for us is very important, and I think there's a lot of new economies which we can develop, which we haven't touched yet. And obviously, in all these new development areas, we need the talent we have built up in our organization. We have to be able to send these people in these countries to develop our business. It's very important for us.
Part of the way in which they develop the leadership talent in their organization, it has to be seen as a core way in which they will develop and sustain competitiveness.
I think there's one good way that talent mobility can stimulate economies, and that's where people from developing worlds have the opportunity to go to developed worlds and learn some things if they go back and forth.
Talents move and are mobile, then they usually come with their families. So we have to make sure that the integration, be it on the schooling side, getting all the permits and the visas and so on and so forth, really is not seen as a hurdle or a barrier.
There really needs to be a look or attempt to understand what might be a set of international standards that could guide the policy making so that we have a much more even, transparent kind of environment for talent mobility.
When it comes to short-term mobility, countries need to think about creating a new type of permit or visa which addresses the requirements of services companies, consulting companies, businesses in general, which need to bring in people for a very short period of time, maybe 6 weeks to 6 months.
I believe it's important to have the international mobility of talent. People coming, you see, from India, from Taiwan, from South America, from Russia, from Poland, from Argentina, from Chile, to the US, to Canada, to Europe, etc., to contribute to production. Now, from the point of view of international development, you don't want also to deplete the human resource base of these countries of origin. So basically, the idea is to foster talent mobility, talent circulation.
The thing that is really crucial as we look at this across the globe is really being inclusive and diversity. How can you create an environment that is inclusive of individuals that have the skill sets and competencies that your community or business, for example, need?
Companies have evolved to pretty quickly adapting to what needs to get done to have a successful outcome. The issue in my mind is more on the part of all of the bureaucracy around government policy, red tape.
There's a duality of governance working with governments. And it doesn't sound too much like alliteration.
There needs at some point to be some sort of transfer from countries to which these skilled people are coming.
There has to be, I think, a much more concentrated effort on looking at underrepresented minorities and bringing women into these fields.
And get at least a couple of successes, maybe going in some of those markets that were in the scary areas.
Get into the act of problem solving, because the longer you delay some of these problems, you're really going to increase the size of the problem.
I think this is the Cross-Industry Summit, and I think there are a whole lot of things that the business can do together.
We look forward to continuing to engage with you on this. And if you have these great examples, if you have these great ideas, we also look forward to being a bit of a focal point for sharing some of those as well. So, on behalf of the forum, thank you very much for your engagement on this.